Hello everybody. On the 16th of September, we've got a very powerful lunar eclipse at 24 degrees of Pisces. And at the time of this lunar eclipse, we've got a T-square going on. A T-square, if you remember my little musical examples, and I will bring some music in at the end for those of you that enjoy it, it's a minor aspect, it's an aspect of tension. So when you get three together, you're getting extra tension, if you like. But do remember, tension can be a good thing. When you're building muscles, you have to create some tension in order to build strength. So very often, when you get a lot of squares going on, you're able to build up power and strength, inner resources. So don't be frightened about these aspects. Sometimes some of you write to me and say, oh goodness, it's happening on my Mars or my Venus. And I say, no, the astrology is here to empower you, to show you what you can do with some of these tense aspects and how you can resolve them into the major aspects musically and really find some more peace and some more space in your life. So let's look at what Virgo and Pisces mean, because when there's a lunar eclipse, it means the sun and the moon are opposite each other. And an eclipse is especially powerful. It's like having a full moon on steroids. It's really strong. And at the time of this eclipse, we've got Sun and Mercury retrograde here in Virgo. And Virgo is the sign that wants to break things down into tiny little pieces. It's the sign that likes to have the to-do list and tick things off as it goes. So it likes nano, teeny weeny things. And then we've got opposite. We've got Pisces, the moon and Neptune in Pisces. And if anything was anything to do with the opposite of tiny little things, this is to do with the vastness and the hugeness of space around all those little things. And in the midst of it all, we've got Saturn and Mars here in Sagittarius stirring everything up. That's how I'm seeing it. I'm seeing that this is stirring the pot. We've nothing in fixed signs at the time of this lunar eclipse. So in one sense, you could, depending again on your perspective, you could see this as a wonderful opportunity. I'm not fixed down, I'm free. I can create anything I want at this time. Or you could see it that, goodness, I can't make plans. I can't fix anything at the moment. Everything seems to be in flux. If you can enjoy being in flux, it's a bit like when you see a wave coming to you. You're in the sea, you're swimming. And you can see that wave coming, and there's no way you can avoid that wave. So you can either smack into it, and it's going to hurt you, or you can let that wave wash over you, or you can just go with that wave. And that is the opportunity that you're being given here at this time. Now with Mercury retrograde, although Mars is stirring the pot, I think with Mercury retrograde we've got an opportunity to think twice, not necessarily to have an angry reaction, because Mars and Saturn sometimes can just flare up, and because it's square to the moon here, you might find your emotional self flaring up. I nearly had a flare up this week. PayPal just introduced some kind of exorbitant fee. I could feel my emotions. I was nearly getting into it. And I thought, no, I don't need to react in this way. First of all, let me see how I can see the situation differently. Isn't it wonderful that PayPal are facilitating me receiving some money? So they've taken a little bit of an excessive fee, and now let's see what we can do about that. I felt much calmer. The lady at the end of the phone began to soften up, and she helped me, and we resolved everything easily. That's the emotional. Then the square to the sun, it may be somebody somehow questioning your sense of self, your self-importance, your ego. I had that too this week in a taxi. Got in a taxi and I said to him, could you please take me to Piraeus? And he said, well, where in Piraeus? Now, bearing in mind we were 20 minutes away from Piraeus and I just wanted to relax and cool off a little bit. The weather's been very hot. And just breathe a little bit. Well, he was insistent. Do you want to go here or here and here? And I felt myself again say, look, you know, I'm paying for this taxi ride and I just want some peace and quiet. And I thought, no, that's certainly not going to work. That's this resistance point again. So I thought to myself, what can I do here? So I said to him, you know what? I said, I really think you're trying to help me, aren't you? And he said, yes, I am. And then suddenly the energy shifted. Suddenly I said to him, well, you tell me, you suggest some places to me. And we had a lovely conversation. And he ended up dropping me exactly where I wanted to be. And the whole thing went into a flow. Because what Pisces is all about is finding flow. Is finding that moment of flow. You know when you're not in the flow. Because you're banging up against obstacles. You're banging up against Mars and Saturn things. But when you're in the flow of energies, things just happen synchronistically. So we've also got the square of Saturn to Neptune going on exactly on the 20th of this month. So it really is, for many of us, a challenge to really work with earning a living, Saturn, sensible, money, paying bills, living in the real world, square to this Neptune energy, which is conjunct to this full moon, which is this desire to be free, to live on that spiritual level and not to have to deal with all the realities of life. Now, some of us live in that bit, some of us live in that bit. And it's about bringing the two together, because while we're living in this physical world, it's about being physical and at the same time being a spiritual being. Neptune, Saturn in a physical body. That's how I see it anyway. Neptune is very much, and the moon here, it's very much about getting in tune with your body, what's happening. You might need a nap, you might need to rest, relax. It's also so important at this time to do something that is soothing, to be gentle to yourself, to be gentle to others. Pisces is about helping others. I saw an old lady struggling with her shopping the other day, so I offered to help her, Baronas Aswafiso, and she was delighted, looked up and said, oh yes please. So we got into a very long conversation in Greek, of which I have to say I think I understood about 50% of it. And although she only lived 12 doors away from me, it took us about the best part of an hour to get her home. But we've got this lovely aspect of Mars trine to Uranus going on. So you may well end up with a surprise, an action that brings you a surprise, something you didn't anticipate. I think I would close really with Elvis Presley's song, Love Me Tender. Because to me this is, if you can bring that emotion into your life at the time of this lunar eclipse, if you can go with the flow, if you can also remember to bring as much creativity into your life at this time. And talking of creativity, there was an abundance of it this week. I got two paintings, one here, which I hope you can enjoy, and another one that also came through, very different. And just for you to see how different, on different days, the creativity can be different, the emotions are different, things are different. We've got so much mutable energy going on. Allow yourself to be different, to be changeable. Too often people expect us, and we expect ourselves, to be the same. Oh, you know, you've changed. Oh, goodness, didn't expect that. But allow yourself some of that flexibility. So I'm going to close with Elvis Presley's song, and I wish you a tender, gentle, loving lunar eclipse in Pisces.
Never let me go.